You ever have those mornings where you walk into the shop and the smell of cedar hits you just right, and for a second, you actually feel like you know what you're doing?
Every time I see your scrap bin overflowing with experimental mistakes, Tiger, I'm reminded that feeling and reality are two very different zip codes.
Look, that pile of expensive kindling is just my way of keeping the local lumberyard in business. It's philanthropy, really. But honestly, looking at the news today, the gap between what we do with our hands and what a computer can spit out is getting thinner. It's like the world is trying to turn us all into magicians without the top hats.
Or just making it so I don't have to spend 6 hours in CAD software just to print a custom bracket for my curtain rods. I saw the TigerDen blog today. We're talking 3D doodles now?
Yeah, Cookie Cat dropped this doodle mode. It's basically for people who want to skip the math. You draw a 2D sketch and the software just inflates it into a 3D object. It's like those balloon animals at a street fair, but made of plastic and actually useful.
Useful? Or just a way for you to turn your napkin sketches into physical clutter even faster?
Don't tell my wife, but I spent 20 minutes yesterday drawing a stylized tiger head that looks more like a grumpy potato. But think about the entry point. Usually, when a kid or a hobbyist wants to get into 3D printing, they hit a wall of XY's coordinates that looks like a high school trigonometry nightmare. This is just, if you can draw it, you can hold it.
I'll give you that. It lowers the barrier. But for the serious gearheads, Matthew Mensley over at All3DP just put out the 2026 Definitive Guide. 24 categories? That's not a guide. That's an encyclopedia.
It's the Get Your Wallet Ready manual. But All3DP is the real deal. They're bridging that gap between I'm playing with a toy and I'm running a small-scale factory in my spare room. Whether it's CNC routing or industrial additive manufacturing, it's not just about making plastic trinkets anymore. We're talking about printing parts that can actually take a load.
Speaking of taking a load, transitions can be clunky, but I'm pivoting to the heavy lifting. You saw the fine home building piece on apprenticeships?
I did. And man, that one hit me right in the chest. We live in this era where everyone thinks they can become a master carpenter by watching a 3-minute montage on their phone. But there is a specific kind of wisdom that only transfers when you're standing in the mud with someone who's been framing houses since before you had a chin whisker.
You think the old ways are actually making a comeback? Or are people just realizing that self-taught often means, I didn't know I was doing it wrong until the roof leaked?
It's a bit of both. An apprenticeship isn't just about learning how to swing a hammer without hitting your thumb, though that's a plus. It's the sequence. It's knowing why you cut the king stud that way before you even pick up the saw. For the business owners moving into 2026, training your own crew through a structured program is the only way to stop the brain drain. You can't just hire skill anymore. You have to grow it like a garden.
It sounds noble, Tiger, but you're a bit of a lone wolf. Could you actually handle a mentee following you around all day, critiquing your creative measurements?
It would be a test of my soul, Alex. Truly. But honestly, if I can save one person from the mistake I made back in 2009, trying to hang a kitchen cabinet into drywall with nothing but hope and a few zip-its, then I've done my job.
Wait, you actually tried that?
We don't talk about the Great Spice Rack disaster of 2009. The point is, use the Fine Home Building Magazine Index. If you've got a problem, some guy named Artie probably solved it in a 1984 issue and explained it better than any AI ever will.
Okay, so if the apprentice is the future of the trade, let's talk about the business side. The Maker Mogul section of the blog mentions the craft business news. You're always telling me that making is the easy part.
Because it is. Look, I love the smell of sawdust, but the smell of an unexpected tax bill will wake you up much faster. Running a handmade business is, and I'm being generous here, about 20% shop time and 80% keeping the wheels from falling off the wagon.
That sounds exhausting. Why do it then?
Because that 20% is pure magic. But to keep the magic alive, you have to be a bit of a nerd about the boring stuff. Shifting tax laws, platform algorithms, shipping rates. If you aren't spending 15 minutes a week scanning the horizon, you're going to get hit by a wave you never saw coming. It's about being a craftsman of your business, not just your product.
I like that. Crafting the business. But let's get to the part people really care about, the money. There's a video in the digest about a $10,000 cabinet. Tiger, I've seen your cabinets. They're nice. They are not down payment on a house nice. What makes a box worth 10 grand?
It's the invisible stuff. It's the dovetails that lock together like they were grown that way. It's a finish that feels like silk and looks like deep water. When you see a piece of furniture at that price point, you're not paying for wood. You're paying for 1,000 hours of mistakes that the maker didn't make on your piece.
So it's a masterclass in value. But you also included a video on the smart garage gym. That feels like a jump from high-end joinery to squat racks.
It's the same philosophy. How do you maximize a space? The toolbox method, guys. Episode 67. They figured out how to have a pro-grade gym without kicking the table saw out into the rain. It's about high ROI living. Whether you're building a cabinet for a client or a pull-up bar for yourself, you're solving a problem with sweat equity.
And hopefully avoiding the problem-solving one-to-one disasters.
Exactly. The final video we're recommending covers 4 major home fixes. I watched it and realized I'd done 3 of them the hard way. It's a bitter pill, seeing someone solve in 5 minutes what took me a whole weekend and 3 trips to the hardware store. But that's the TigerDen way. We share the scars, so you don't have to get them.
So, what's the consensus for the weekend? Are we doodling in 3D or are we getting our hands dirty in the shavings?
You know me. I'll probably try to 3D print a jig to help me hand cut some tenons, fail at both, and end up just staring at a piece of oak until it tells me what it wants to be.
Spoken like a true master.
Look, here's the heart of it for today. Whether you're looking at a career in the trades, trying to sell your first bowl on Etsy, or just fixing a leaky faucet, respect the process. Don't be afraid to be a beginner, even if you've been doing this for 20 years. The moment you think you've got nothing left to learn is the moment you should probably put the power tools down for your own safety.
A meaningful takeaway that also sounds like a legal disclaimer. Typical Tiger.
I just want everyone to keep their fingers. Build something that lasts this weekend, folks. Whether it's a digital doodle or a timber frame shed, just make sure it's yours.
See you in the